Nowadays, all the human beings in this society are suffering from suffering, which has made life bitter and constant stress. There is so much chaos in society that everything and every movement has haste. There is a race to finish each task as quickly as possible. But no work is finished. This society's crisis has become a way of life. After much struggle and effort, when a problem is solved, a new, more difficult, and complex problem emerges. In the social system, there is demand and exposure to new goods on the other. Various fashions and needs are constantly increasing from mobile phones to the current imposed lifestyle. There is a deprivation of basic needs such as water, electricity, bread, drainage, housing, education, and treatment, and secondary needs are not fulfilled. This is not an inevitable process of natural evolution, but the rulers get a higher rate of profit in mobile service than in water delivery. The mobile phone is made such a necessity in fashion that the psychology is driven that people start drowning in mobile phones, leaving clean water. Apart from leaving the house without a phone, it has become difficult to distance oneself from the mobile even for a natural need. The fact is that to increase the consumption of a thing, the purpose is to spread its use, and the use is determined by the imposed fashion of the time. If you think about it, all this laments the sad desolation of man's alienation in this distracted society. There is so much crowd, yet one feels alone. Society's socio-psychological crisis has increased so much that there is no trust in relationships and no confidential secret. Every relationship is full of meaningful purpose and the poison of greed. From jobs to contracts, from school admissions to access to treatment, legitimate and straightforward pathways have been blocked. The recommendation has also become a thing of the past. Money flows everywhere. Humanity has become a relationship of trades of meaning. All are the helpers of interests. There are relations of pretense. Relationships are built and sustained by gifts and favors. The sands of establishing a relationship without material interference have run out. The spirit of sacrifice and self-sacrifice has disappeared. Loyalty and love have lost the truth. Every relationship and every love now demands financial resources, because even the most delicate and closest emotional and devotional relationships of a human being have been commercialized by this system. When the common man comes out of the hustle and bustle of this crowd and thinks about himself and looks for a reliable connection, relationship as a necessity for living, he finds himself alone. To eliminate this alienation of soul and feeling, one then engages in a blind and unrestrained race to achieve needs. Again, if he is injured, suffering from disease, suffering pain, or any trauma, he seeks shelter. They prove to be temporary and soon to be cheated. This pain of humanity and the destruction of relationships is also experienced by those who are betrayed. But the oppression of society and wealth has paralyzed life so much that it does not allow a person with a heart and passion to remain. Trotsky wrote about the psychology of this capitalist society that life and politics know no thanksgiving or gratitude. Material wealth is a business. It is used for its purposes, and sooner or later it leads a person on the path of madness instead of consciously removing it from the poison of lust. Or else he has to adopt a new morality full of hypocrisy, in which the outward appearance of goodness and philanthropy is more modest than before. In today's era, the problem of alienation and isolation is not primarily individual or personal, but it is a collective social problem that is caused by this economic system and its crisis to the whole society, and every one of its residents is affected by it in some form and level. Is affected by. In 1844, Karl Marx, while describing the social crisis of this capitalist system, wrote that political economy here only drives the wheels of greed and brings out the fight in the form of competition. When there is a decline in any capitalist society, the humiliation of the workers increases. But when this system is developing, there are various complications in this humiliation, but a society based on the system, even to the extremes of development. If reached, this humiliation remains in a state of stagnation. Marx's theory of alienation is based on the scientific fact that the laborer who works hard to produce in this system is deprived of his production and remains guilty of this. By doing so much effort and struggle, a person faces more complex and difficult problems in the race to solve his problem. Here the human being is bound in this general psychology that if he passes this exam, gets such a degree, buys a house, and gets married, this deal is done, and all the problems will be solved. But this is not the case in practical life. But we have been taught by the thinkers here that this is a competitive world, and the one who works hard will advance and become a big man. But in reality, it is not like that. Abraham Lincoln is said to have been the son of a blacksmith, but became the President of the United States. But there were thousands of blacksmith sons wandering around America who would have worked much harder. There is also an opportunity here for those who have resources, or one of the millions and millions with fewer resources gets it by accident. But neither the overwhelming majority belong to such privileged classes nor everyone is a victim of such accidents. Otherwise, an accident would not be an accident. The psychology and practice of competition also dominate others. Free competition leads to monopoly and dominance. All this is considered legitimate in the psychology, ethics, and values of the society of wealth. It is encouraged. The monopoly of private property and the accumulation of wealth are presented as sacred things. Be prosperous and share happiness.